Welcome back. It's another episode of Let 'Em Ride. It is June 9th, Game 2 of the NBA Finals tonight. Boston won Game 1 in blowout fashion, 107-89. They opened up Game 2 as 7.5-point favorites that has since moved down to 6.5. The total opened up at 214.5 and that has since moved up to 215. So Dallas in Game 1, they jump out to an early 15-14 lead. They're hanging tight, right? And then Boston, they decide, you know what? It's time for us to make a little history here. We're going to go on a 23-5 run now. All right, there's 37-20 at the end of the first. They're up 17 points. This goes down as the largest first quarter lead ever in the NBA Finals. What a way to start if you're Boston. Three-point shooting was brought up a lot heading into this series, how vital it was going to be to the outcome of these games. And in Game 1, Boston did outshoot Dallas 38-26%, knocking in 16 of their 42 attempts from downtown, while Dallas hit only 7 of their 27. The Mavs did also try to exploit Horford right off the rip in the pick and roll, just like we expected with Luka and Kyrie, just to no avail. Al stood his ground. You got to give the man props, man. Like, you could tell he's fighting his ass off trying to get that first ring. There was 13 shot attempts put up with Horford as the primary defender, and Dallas only hit one of those. That's 7% that they shot with Horford as the primary defender. It's a very impressive performance from Al. When you had Rudy Gobert, the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, struggling against these guys, and you got 175-year-old Al Horford out here locking them up, man, props to Al. Props to Al. As a Laker fan, even props to Al. Good shit. Kyrie really struggled in Game 1 specifically, and he had good looks. They just weren't dropping. He went 6 of 19 from the field, didn't hit any of his 5 3-point attempts. And with the Celtics zeroing in on Luka, they'll need more from Kyrie, and the opportunity should be there for him to step up. A lot of those shots, like I said, they were wide open looks, and they're just, rimming in and out, just the kind of shots that we're typically used to seeing Kyrie hit. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's done a good job in these playoffs so far of not stacking up bad games back to back. So I do look to see Kyrie bounce back and have a much better performance in Game 2. So then on the other side for the Celtics, you got Porzingis coming in after missing the entirety of the playoffs so far. He's coming off the bench, and he has an immediate impact in this game on both sides of the floor. Boston's +9 in his first 5 minutes on the court. He went 7 of 9 shooting for 18 points. He's splashing threes like he's Steph Curry. Dude was on fire. There was no rust to shake off. It was like he was anxious to get back out there and get the work in, get one step closer to this championship. And he had 2 crucial blocks in transition that I really think set the tone for this game, and just kind of stifled Dallas and any kind of opportunity to try to seize any kind of momentum. And he just kept it all in Boston's favor. Kristaps was huge, man. He's proven that he's going to be the X factor in the series, and if Dallas can't find a way to adjust, they're going to really struggle. With that said, though, in the second half, it seems like they did make some adjustments. Derek Lively was playing him a lot more aggressive, and they held him to 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting. The problem is that Lively was already in foul trouble. So it'll be curious to see, can they do this without the foul trouble? Can you play Kristaps more physically? Can you kind of bully him a little bit without getting into foul trouble? And if they can do that, they'll see more success. But that's going to be the key. The Mavs, they looked a lot better in the second half. Those open shots that they couldn't convert earlier in the game, those are starting to drop. And they made some adjustments on defense that Jason Tatum himself admitted just kind of had Boston's offense feeling a little disoriented, a little out of whack. And in this span, Dallas, they went on a 22-9 run to cut the lead down to 8 with about 4 minutes and some change to go in the third quarter. Boston responds with a timeout, and Joe Mazzulla looks at his guys, and he basically told them, hey, calm down. You guys are the veterans here. Breathe. Relax. All right, lock in. And they did, man. They come out of that timeout. Jaylen Brown leads another run. It's a 14-2 spurt from Boston. And they're back up 20 headed into the fourth quarter after Dallas, like I said, cut it to 8. Coming into Game 1, we talked about Dallas's ability to defend the ball at the rim and how it was one of the keys to their success throughout this run to the finals. But it was Boston's ability to defend at the rim that really shone brightest in Game 1. They had 9 blocks to the Mavs 1. Despite this, the Mavs outscored the Celtics 46-38 in the paint. But Boston was crazy good in transition D, and that's where they got the majority of these blocks. They forced Dallas into a very slow half-court style game and eliminated anything in transition. Anytime you saw Dallas think about getting out, in transition and on the break and try to grab any bit of momentum. Here comes a Boston defender right behind him, swatting that ball into the backboard and just kind of crushing any kind of momentum that they could possibly build. Luka played his heart out. He played a good game, but worked hard, extremely hard for everything that he got. That's not the recipe when you're playing injured. That knee was clearly bothering him. He's wincing up multiple times up and down the court. And Boston was ready for Luka in the pick and roll. They showed phenomenal awareness and team chemistry in their switches and help defense. And you look at some numbers, man, the assist rate, right? Boston 23 assists, Dallas 9. And what's that tell you? Easier looks for Boston. The ball's moving around. They're finding the open man while Dallas is working for everything. They had no assists at all in the third quarter. And then four of their nine total assists came in the fourth quarter in garbage time. So that's 5 assists through 3 quarters. Just not a recipe when you're playing a team like Boston that can switch and really just defend all 5 positions. And all 5 of Boston's starters, they all scored in double figures. And their bench outscored Dallas 26-4 through the first 3 quarters, before benches took over for garbage time. Dallas can, and I expect them under Coach Kidd to make adjustments. And they'll keep getting too tired and compete with this Boston team. You saw them do it for a stretch of time in the third quarter, but I feel like the momentum was so heavily against them. And this is a team that, besides Kyrie and Jason Kidd, none of them have seen the finals. So with the momentum already against them, and the runs that Boston was going on, and the shooting that Boston was displaying, and the struggles that Dallas had, I think that that little short period of time in the third quarter where they got things working, it just wasn't enough. So if they can start faster and not dig that kind of hole, they're going to have much more success in game 2. And switching to a zone, switching to a zone and stunning the ball could potentially force some out of rhythm attempts for Boston. Everything was just kind of in rhythm. Like I said, they're moving the ball and finding the open guy, and they just looked super comfortable. And you didn't really see Dallas play out of the zone that often in game 1. And maybe we try that out and see if we can do anything to stifle this outside shooting from Boston. Because the key is to keep Lively and Gafford in the paint, protecting the rim. What's happening is Boston was able to pull them out and get them kind of lost in space. So communication is going to have to improve for Dallas on defense, or they're just going to keep getting burned in rotation. So, an area that they can't make adjustments and they just simply have to be better is shot making. And I expect to see some positive regression here, especially when it comes to the Mavs 3-point shooting. We can't expect him to go 6-24 every game. We can't expect Kyrie to go 0-5 every game. And Boston shot the ball very well on the other hand. You can't expect them to keep that pace up for the entirety of a 7-game series. So you expect to see a little regression on both sides and things just kind of balance out. And Luka, he thrived in pick and rolls, obviously. We've talked about this a lot, specifically getting into the lane and throwing lobs to the likes of Gafford, Lively, Jones. This has been their bread and butter, but Boston stifled that in game 1. They kept Jaylen Brown, they kept him in the paint, ready to jump on these attempts and just kind of shut down anything Luka was trying to do. And he's going to need to make better reads out of these situations and utilize that corner 3-point shooting that Dallas also thrived on throughout this playoff run. When you're going into the lane and you got JB camped out down there by the rim waiting to stop your lob attempts, there's somebody open out. Where's JB's guy? There's somebody out there. He's got to make the better read in those situations, and I expect that he will. He'll make the adjustments that he needs to make. So as far as the side, I am leaning Dallas with the points. The Mavs have won 5 of their last 6 now outright as dogs. The Celtics have failed to cover in 6 of their last 8 when favored by 7 or more points. And like I said earlier in the video, the Mavs, besides Kyrie and besides Kidd, they all just played in their first NBA final game in their career. So now that the nerves of the big stage are out of the way, now that Kidd's had 2 days to make adjustments, look over the film, and see what they need to do differently against Boston, I just expect a lot more competitive game than what we saw in game 1. Do I think Dallas wins this one outright? No, I do think Boston is still the better team here. They're a more complete team. I just think that Dallas can keep this one closer. They can keep it within a possession or 2. They're giving 3 possessions to Dallas just seems like a little too much here in this spot. And then as far as the total, You got 80% of the money coming in on the over, and I'm with the Sharps here. I can't see Dallas struggling the same way in game two that they did in game one. Better ball movement and just simply knocking in some of those open looks that they missed in game one will ensure that Dallas does their part to hit this number. And I don't see Boston regressing so much that they don't. I would expect to see Dallas try to push the pace a little bit more and try to get out and transition more and out of that half court set that Boston is trying to lock them into. And all that's going to mean is a faster paced game and more scoring opportunities and more chances for us to cash on an over. So I'm going to play Dallas plus the points here. I'm going to play the over as well. If you agree with my analysis and you plan to ride with me, let me know in the comments. If you plan to fade the hell out of me because you think I'm an idiot and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, let me know in the comments as well, man. I'm curious. I want to know. Best of luck tonight to everybody. Bet responsibly. I'll see y'all for game three.